I do not permit you to do this. I did not give them authorization. Don't take me, please. As long as I get it back. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate how hot you guys must be in that. I need it all, please.
Well, some things you can't take, but we'll take whatever we can.
Are you taking my chair?
I'll see you're an optimist.
Yeah. Of course. I'm going to shove and fish. One of these days.
On the 4th of July holiday, police in Key West, Florida, responded to a report about a stolen tourism train at the Conch Tour train depot. Workers told officers that a man had visited the depot while claiming to be a former employee. A staff member allowed him to tour one of the trains only to see him drive off in it, later identified as Jonathan Winslow. The suspect was reportedly celebrating his 57th birthday at the time of the alleged theft. He left his car idling in the depot's parking lot with the radio on. Winslow drove the stolen train long enough to pick up 2 passengers, who were apparently unaware that the driver was unauthorized. He then ditched the train, which was found unharmed. Deputies also located Winslow, who spoke rapidly and seemed excited, leading to speculation that he was high on methamphetamine. He informed law enforcement that it was his birthday and said he was just borrowing the train, and he claimed that a meth pipe that was found in his pocket was used for marijuana. Winslow was charged with unarmed burglary of an occupied structure, grand theft of a motor vehicle, and misdemeanor drug paraphernalia possession. He remains in custody at the Monroe County Jail, with bond set at $60,000. Number 19. Eleasah Williams. On a Saturday morning in mid-June, a 24-year-old Tennessee woman crashed a minivan into an assisted living facility in Knoxville, killing 96-year-old Walter Humphrey as he slept in his bed. According to reports, Eleasah Williams was in a homicidal state and intent on killing others when she hit the brick building at around 5:15 a.m., striking it with so much force that her entire vehicle ended up inside. There were no skid marks near the crash scene, leading to speculation that Williams not only made no effort to hit the brakes, but that the minivan may have flown through the air prior to impact. Emergency responders pulled Williams from the vehicle and took her to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. She reportedly admitted to taking several prescription drugs and smoking THC while in a state of distress before leaving a nearby apartment complex, speeding across 4 lanes of traffic and hitting the senior living complex. After receiving medical treatment, Williams was booked into the Knox County Jail on suspicion of vehicular homicide with recklessness. She remains in custody, with bond set at $75,000. Number 18. Kristin Spearman. In late June, a Beverly Hills, Texas woman was charged with 3rd-degree felony stalking for marrying her ex-boyfriend without his consent and leaving a copy of the fraudulent marriage certificate at his home. According to police, 36-year-old Kristin Marie Spearman persuaded a local reverend to sign the document despite the absence of the 42-year-old victim, Christopher Scott Mitchell. She then filed a license with the clerk's office. Spearman's arrest came after the victim contacted police on June 13th. He said that he had returned home to find a bag containing a copy of the marriage certificate and a photo of Spearman holding the document, along with a note that he might want to call his wife. The victim further explained that he and Spearman had recently broken up after taking steps to obtain a marriage license earlier that month. He claimed that he had changed his phone number and told Spearman to stop contacting him and was completely unaware of the marriage ceremony or the signing of the certificate. While announcing Spearman's arrest, authorities stated that the victim had to take a lot of steps to fix the non-consensual marriage and that these efforts were undertaken at his own cost. At the time the story broke, the reverend involved, Levontis Williams, was reportedly cooperating with law enforcement and had expressed his sincere remorse for the incident. A spokesperson declined to elaborate on whether or not Williams would face charges in connection with the case, but the Reverend told 25 News that Spearman misled him into thinking she and the victim were legitimately seeking to marry. He said that he trusted Spearman because she was a longtime friend and described the situation as one of the most painful and humiliating experiences of his life. Number 17. Mary Lou Retton.
Okay, leave your phone there. I'm gonna run you through some field sobriety tests, okay?
Oh
yeah, I know. But we have to. Okay, well, come with me.
Oh my god. No!
You're coming with me. Please don't make this any harder.
Oh my
Please
god.
don't make it any harder.
Oh my god.
57-year-old former gymnast and Olympic gold medalist Mary Lou Retton made news headlines for unexpected reasons in May when she was arrested for driving under the influence in Marion County, Virginia. According to a criminal complaint, police approached Retton after she was seen in her car with a bottle of wine in the passenger seat in the parking lot of an AutoZone store. Body cam footage appears to show Retton struggling to comply with a field sobriety test being conducted by a Fairfield City police officer. In the video, she can be seen expressing shock at the situation before putting on an oxygen mask in the middle of the test. Retton has relied on oxygen since suffering from life-threatening pneumonia in 2023. During her illness, she spent a month in the hospital and even told her 4 daughters that she wasn't sure if she would survive. She pleaded no contest to a first offense non-aggravated DUI charge and was fined $100. In a statement to People magazine, Retton took accountability for the incident, acknowledging that her actions were unacceptable and apologizing to her friends, family, and fans for letting them down. Number 16. Christopher Spain. On a Saturday morning in July, Florida state troopers responded to multiple calls about a man driving a lawnmower erratically along the Suncoast Highway in Brooksville. Responding officers found the suspect, 38-year-old Christopher Spain, driving his no-turn lawnmower along the shoulder of the road. He told law enforcement that he was just using the machine as a form of transportation and reportedly displayed signs of impairment, including irritation to the inside of his nose, small pupils, flushed skin, sniffling, and a dry mouth. Spain refused to undergo field sobriety tests or provide a urine sample and was booked into the Hernando County Jail on a misdemeanor DUI charge. He was subsequently released after posting a $500,000 bond, and his case appears to be ongoing. Number 15. Yuriana Julia Pelaez Calderon. An undocumented migrant has been arrested in California for allegedly staging her own kidnapping in an attempt to make it appear as though she was being detained by bounty hunters working for ICE. The case hit news headlines in late June after friends and relatives of 41-year-old Yuriana Julia Pelaez Calderon told reporters that the Los Angeles woman had been followed and ambushed by armed men in unmarked trucks while on her way to work. They said they had received 2 phone calls from Calderon, who reportedly claimed that she had been handed over to ICE agents at the San Ysidro border station and forced to sign self-deportation paperwork. According to this version of events, Calderon refused to sign the documents and was supposedly detained at a warehouse with other migrants and no law enforcement officials present. ICE denied the allegations in a statement, adding that it does not work with private bounty hunters. In the meantime, Calderon's attorneys told local station KTLA that they had lost touch with their client, but that she did not appear to be listed as a current detainee. Despite her absence from the database, the lawyers said that they believed Calderon was in ICE custody, while a since-deleted crowdfunding campaign created by her daughter quickly garnered thousands of dollars in donations. ICE and Homeland Security agents reportedly spent days searching for the missing woman, at one point even going from cell to cell at detention facilities in their efforts to find her. Law enforcement located Calderon outside a shopping plaza several days after the alleged kidnapping, where surveillance footage showed no indication that she was being held against her will as she left a fast food restaurant. A few weeks later, authorities announced the arrest of Calderon, who is facing federal charges of conspiracy and making false statements to federal officers. In a statement, the Department of Justice cited phone records and other evidence to support its belief that Calderon faked her abduction. The agency also pointed the finger at the suspect's family, who they say created fabricated rescue photos that they plan to use in an attempt to add credibility to their story. If convicted as charged, Calderon could face a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison, and the DOJ has mentioned that charges against other suspects could be forthcoming. Number 14. Nicole Ballew Callaham. In early July, a South Carolina teacher was arrested for having a years-long inappropriate relationship with a teenage boy in Greenville. 33-year-old Nicole Ballew Callaham turned herself into law enforcement in Anderson County and was charged with 3 counts related to her alleged misconduct. The authorities began investigating the disgraced former educator in May and discovered evidence indicating that the relationship began back in 2021 and lasted for 2 years. According to court documents, Callaham met the victim while directing a school play and subjected him to a prolonged pattern of abuse. The allegations were corroborated by the victim, Grant Strickland, who went public with his story after turning 18. He told local reporters that he came forward to help empower other victims, and that just because he's a male doesn't mean his case should be shunned away. During a court hearing several days after her arrest, Callaham revealed that she was between 8 and 9 weeks pregnant. She could be seen grinning in the courtroom after being granted bond, and neither the defense nor the prosecution speculated about the identity of the unborn child father during the proceeding, which Callaham's fiancé attended in her support. Callaham was released from jail after posting a $120,000 bond and is banned from contacting or going near Strickland and places that he is known to frequent. Number 13. Irena Green. A Florida woman was detained without bond in late May after an ongoing fight against her homeowners association resulted in a warrant being issued for her arrest. Mother of two, Irena Green's dispute with the HOA's management company, the Trowbridge Company, Inc., began in 2024 after she received a notice over some dead brown grass in the front yard of her Hillsborough County home. She told ABC Action News that she had struggled to maintain the grass due to drought-like conditions and that there were other households dealing with the same problem. Green began receiving additional notices from her HOA for other alleged issues, including minor dents in her garage door, a dirty mailbox, and a commercial van with no logo that was parked in her driveway. Although she said there were other households with similar vehicles, when she failed to respond to the notices, the HOA sued her and demanded that all of the problems be fixed immediately. The judge sided with the HOA, and Green says she complied with the orders to remedy the violations, but she missed her next court appearance, claiming she never received a summons and was picked up on a bench warrant earlier this year. She spent the next week in jail and has since been released, but the fight appears to be ongoing. Number 12. Kevin Ahn. A Maryland man is facing multiple murder charges following the deaths of 3 victims, including his own mother. 31-year-old Kevin Ahn is accused of killing 83-year-old Sun Puk Lim and 70-year-old In Yong Kim at their Onins Mills home on March 24th. The victims were found strangled to death on the floor of their kitchen with belts around their necks. Later that same day, Kevin allegedly fatally strangled his mother, 61-year-old Xuan Ahn, put her body into her car and concealed it with McDonald's wrappers and other garbage before driving to his estranged sister's home in Pennsylvania. Kevin's sister reported him to law enforcement in Penn Township after discovering Xuan's body in the vehicle, along with a note stating, "Mom is in the car. I'm sorry. Please give her a funeral. My brain is fried." The exact motive behind the killings is unclear. Kevin was described by his sister as a transient who is generally not welcome at her home. In the note he left with his mother's body, he accused Xuan of lying to him and giving him fake money, while making similar allegations against his employers. He has since been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder for the deaths of Lim and Kim, who authorities say he knew but was not related to, while prosecutors dropped an abuse of a corpse charge in connection with his mother's death in order to extradite him to Maryland in a timely fashion. Investigators estimated that Xuan was dead for 30 to 40 hours before her body was discovered. During a court hearing in April, Ahn's defense attorney argued that he was mourning his mother in his own unique way and that he was dressing up a skeleton and covering her remains out of respect rather than desecrating a corpse by covering her body with trash. The judge overseeing the case ordered Kevin to undergo a competency evaluation in late July, following a series of bizarre court outbursts. In the meantime, prosecutors are awaiting his indictment on the charges. Number 11. Stephen Blasetti. An unusual police chase in the Big Apple ended with the arrest of an unclothed Brooklyn man in mid-July, resulting in a multitude of criminal charges and a subsequent hospital escape. 36-year-old Stephen Blasetti was reportedly high on methamphetamine when he was kicked out of the Dyckman Street Marina in Manhattan for his erratic behavior. He rowed away in a stolen dinghy and navigated along the Hudson River to a moored catamaran, where officers climbed on board and took him into custody. Blasetti was arrested on suspicion of grand larceny, criminal possession of stolen property, and reckless endangerment. He was taken to the Columbia University Irving Medical Center for a psychiatric evaluation, where he made an early morning escape in a lab coat and blue hospital pants. According to reports, Blasetti slipped out of his handcuffs and made his getaway after an officer who was tasked with overseeing him fell asleep. The officer has since been suspended, and the search for Blasetti is ongoing. Number 10. Isaiah Calles and Miguel Orellanas Flores. 2 California men are facing criminal charges following their arrests in early July for attacking another man while waiting in line to buy highly coveted Pokemon cards. The incident occurred at a GameStop store in Colma, where police say 27-year-old Isaiah Calles and 49-year-old Miguel Orellanas Flores smashed a mason jar over the victim's head and stabbed him with the broken shards of glass. Officers responded to a reported physical altercation at the store where they found the victim suffering from life-threatening head lacerations and stab wounds. Witnesses told police that the assault took place during an argument after the victim accused Flores of trying to cut him in line. By the time law enforcement arrived, the suspects had fled the scene in separate vehicles. Onlookers snapped photos of the cars and license plates, enabling police to track the vehicles and arrest the suspects, who were both charged with conspiracy to commit a crime, battery with serious bodily injury, assault with a deadly weapon, and assault with force likely to produce great bodily injury with a special allegation of great bodily injury. Number 9. Loretta Nash. 58-year-old 911 dispatcher Loretta Nash was at her wit's end when she called another woman on June 6th to scold her for her high volume of emergency calls in Twinsburg, Ohio, over a 15-year period. But it proved to be a regrettable decision when it resulted in her arrest on misdemeanor charges of telecommunications harassment and prohibited use of 911 data. The alleged victim, Karen Clinton, told local station WOIO that she was left feeling speechless and terrified after receiving the call from Nash, who's accused of admonishing the woman with a detailed diatribe about the nearly 200 911 calls she has made since 2010. Nash went on to mention the high number of traffic stops that have been made along Clinton Street in recent years before devolving into a plethora of insults, including telling Clinton that she was the dumbest person to call the police department on a repeated basis. Following the incident, Nash was fired from her job. Clinton, who is also a former 911 dispatcher, has since voiced her frustrations with local reporters. She denied making frivolous emergency calls and accused Nash of terrorizing her in her own home by calling her. The local police chief apologized to Clinton, and Nash has pleaded not guilty ahead of her trial, which is tentatively scheduled for late September. Number 8. Guojun Xuan and Silvia Zhang. While investigating a child abuse case in early May, police paid a visit to the Arcadia, California home of the victim's parents, 65-year-old Guojun Xuan and 38-year-old Silvia Zhang. Officers were shocked to discover 15 children living inside the residence, along with 6 other minors who were associated with the couple but living elsewhere at the time. All 21 children were placed into foster care, and the suspects are facing charges for running a bizarre surrogacy scam using their frozen embryos. According to prosecutors, Xuan and Zhang hired multiple women to act as surrogates for the births of their biological children, who were subjected to horrific abuse while being hoarded inside the couple's mansion. The surrogates were reportedly unaware that they were carrying the couple's children and that there were other surrogates. Xuan and Zhang took legal guardianship of all the kids following their births, with the surrogates unaware that they were keeping the children for themselves. According to investigators, surveillance cameras captured footage of the abuse that the children suffered at the hands of their parents and the family's hired nannies. And while it's not illegal to have a large number of children through surrogacy, the suspects' alleged actions have sparked suspicions of human trafficking. Police arrested Xuan and Zhang on suspicion of child endangerment, but the pair continued to maintain their innocence while the surrogates who carried the children claimed they were misled and deceived. Number 7. Terri and Francis Niner. While responding to a Canton, Ohio home on the morning of July 10th, police found 30-year-old Isla Mangan suffering from a stab wound to the neck. She was pronounced dead at a nearby hospital, and her mother and stepfather are behind bars in connection with her death. According to law enforcement, 49-year-old Terri Niner grabbed a short sword off the living room wall of the family's residence during an argument and plunged it into the back of Mangan's neck. She then called 911 and described multiple present and past disagreements with her daughter over dumb stuff. During the conversation, Terri denied cutting the victim and claimed that Mangan had thrown herself backwards into the sword because she's autistic. She was charged with murder, felonious assault, and domestic violence, while her husband, 52-year-old Francis Niner, faces an obstruction charge based on the suspicion that he withheld information from investigators in an attempt to protect his wife from legal trouble. Both suspects are currently in custody at the Stark County Jail, where Terri is being held in lieu of $500,000 bond. Number 6. Lizamarie Rivera-Garcia. In an unusual case that made news headlines in mid-July, a religious teacher was arrested in Puerto Rico for trafficking at least 2 teenage male victims. 42-year-old Lizamarie Rivera-Garcia was taken into custody by the Department of Homeland Security following her indictment on multiple federal charges, which could result in a prison sentence of 50 years to life in the event of a conviction. According to authorities, the abuse lasted from December of 2023 until November of 2024. Court documents state that the defendant knowingly and willfully recruited, enticed, transported, and maintained the victims to engage in commercial acts of intimacy. Rivera-Garcia is also accused of using social media to knowingly transfer and attempt to transfer obscene matter to an underage individual. While announcing the suspect's arrest, officials did not reveal whether the victims were Rivera-Garcia students or share many specific details about her alleged crimes. Number 5. William Cobb. In late June, police responded to a 911 call from a Melbourne, Florida resident who said that her husband, 74-year-old William Cobb, had fallen and couldn't get up during a days-long drinking bender. Hernando County firefighters responded to the scene but quickly left after Cobb allegedly charged him with a tire iron. Cobb was also accused of retrieving a shotgun from his bedroom and threatening to kill emergency responders with it. He then tried to steal a fire truck that was parked outside the residence, but was unable to drive the vehicle, where he was still sitting in the driver's seat when sheriff's deputies arrived. Law enforcement removed Cobb from the fire engine and arrested him on multiple charges, including aggravated assault on a first responder, battery of a law enforcement officer, resisting arrest with violence, robbery and grand theft. He remains in custody at the Hernando County Jail on bonds totaling $70,000. Number 4. Jeremy and Jessica Lamp. A Missouri couple are facing child neglect charges after they abandoned their infant son at a Chillicothe courthouse because they believed they were going to lose custody of him anyway. 36-year-old Jeremy Lamp and his wife, 31-year-old Jessica, are accused of leaving the boy stranded without any clothes, food, or other necessary care after Jessica tested positive for methamphetamine during a mandated drug test for the Department of Social Services. The investigator who tested Jessica reportedly told the couple that she wanted to sit down and come up with a safety plan to keep Jessica away from the child, including by possibly forcing her to leave her home or for Jeremy and the child to move out. She also suggested placing the baby with a relative and told the Lamps that they couldn't leave the baby with the authorities, which they apparently chose to do anyway. Jeremy and Jessica both have prior convictions on their records, including previous DUI and assault charges against Jeremy and the child endangerment case against Jessica. The case appears to be ongoing. Number 3. Rosa Mena. In May of 2025, police in Port St. Lucie, Florida, received a complaint from a woman who believes she had been victimized by an unlicensed medical professional who was running an illegal medical spa from a shed. She claimed she had suffered partial facial paralysis after receiving an injection from 50-year-old Rosa Mena, who reportedly failed to procure a valid medical license after refunding the victim and giving her additional treatment for the unwanted side effects. While searching the property, police found incriminating evidence including medications, vials, needles, medical beds, liposuction and fat sculpting machines, Botox, and other equipment for injecting fillers. Mena was charged with a laundry list of crimes including 3 counts of aggravated battery causing bodily harm, 3 counts of practicing medicine without a license, multiple fraud-related counts, and using a two-way communication device to facilitate a felony. She was booked into the St. Lucie County Jail with bonds set at $95,000, but no longer appears to be in custody. Number 2. Crematorium Nightmare. 2 people were arrested in late June after Mexican authorities discovered nearly 400 neglected bodies at the Plenitude Crematorium in Ciudad Juarez in Chihuahua State. According to a press release, police found the embalmed corpses strewn about the privately owned facility and thrown indiscriminately on top of one another on the floor. Authorities speculated that some of the remains had been there since 2020, and the furnace used to burn the bodies had been non-operational for at least 3 years. During that time, the facility contracted with around a half-dozen local funeral homes while delivering fake ashes to the grieving families of the deceased. The crematorium's owner and an employee were detained for various crimes related to the burial, exhumation, and disrespect for corpses or human remains. Both suspects are reportedly in pre-trial detention, and efforts to identify the heavily decomposed bodies are ongoing. As of mid-July, 6 of the corpses had been identified, and prosecutors have reassured the public that they plan to pursue the case to the fullest extent of the law. Number 1. John Starnes. Dubbed the Nail Bandit, 72-year-old John Starnes was arrested in Okeechobee, Florida, in July after authorities say he spent more than a year and a half damaging fire rescue vehicles with sharp objects. He was apprehended after being caught red-handed in the act during one of many surveillance details that were carried out during an investigation into the vandalism. Starnes reportedly confessed to damaging the vehicles over a nearly 2-year-long period during a so-called beef with county officials. According to a probable cause affidavit, the crimes began in December of 2023 and continued until Starnes was busted during the summer of 2025. He faces multiple felony charges and records show that the case is ongoing. Thanks for watching. What is the most bizarre crime story that you remember? Let us know and maybe we will cover it in one of our upcoming videos.